I was blowing up an air mattress in my friend Jake's backyard when he and Evan were arguing about which snacks to bring into the tent. Jake was holding 2 bags of chips like it was a serious decision. "Bro, we don't need both," he said. Evan grabbed both anyway. "Yes, we do." It was one of those warm summer nights where everything felt perfect. No school, no responsibilities, just us hanging out with nothing to worry about. Jake's backyard was pretty big, surrounded by a wooden fence that wrapped all the way around. Behind that fence was a line of trees that led into a small patch of woods. Not super deep, but enough that you couldn't really see through it at night. His parents said we could camp out there as long as we stayed inside the yard and didn't mess around. We set up a big tent near the back fence, closest to the trees. At first, everything was normal. We threw our bags inside, set up the air mattress, and tossed blankets everywhere. We brought our phones, snacks, and a speaker. Music played while we just talked about random stuff, school, games, dumb things we saw online. Around midnight, we turned the speaker off. The silence hit instantly. It wasn't loud before, but once the music stopped, everything felt too quiet. That's when Evan said, "Did you hear that?" We all went silent. From somewhere near the fence, there was a faint rustling sound, like something brushing against wood. Jake said, "It's probably just an animal." I nodded. It didn't sound that weird, but then it happened again. Closer this time. Like something moving along the outside of the fence, slowly. Evan unzipped the tent just a little and peeked out. "I don't see anything," he said after a few seconds. We brushed it off again. Around 1 a.m., Jake stretched and said, "I gotta go inside real quick." He told us to wait for him. Evan and I stayed in the tent, scrolling on our phones, occasionally glancing toward the tent opening. 5 minutes passed, then 10, then 15. I texted Jake, "Where are you?" No response. Evan said, "I'll go check." I told him I'd come too, but he shook his head. "It's literally right there. I'll be back." I waited. 5 minutes, 10 minutes, no one came back. That's when I started feeling it, that weird heavy feeling like something wasn't right, like the air itself felt different. I called Jake. It rang, but I could hear his phone ringing from inside the tent. He left it behind. That made no sense. Jake never went anywhere without his phone. I immediately zipped the tent open and ran toward the house. The back door was unlocked. I went inside and called their names. "Jake? Evan?" No answer. I checked the bathroom. Empty. Kitchen. Empty. Living room. Nothing. I even checked upstairs quickly. No one. I ran back outside, my heart pounding so hard I could hear it in my ears. The tent was still there. But now, the zipper was open. Wider than I left it. Everything looked the same at first. Blankets, snacks, air mattress. Except Evan's phone was on the ground. Screen cracked. And Jake's sleeping bag was gone. I stood there, frozen, trying to understand what I was looking at. Then I noticed something else. The back flap of the tent was slightly lifted, like something had been pulled through it, toward the fence. I didn't follow it. I ran back inside and called Jake's parents. When they came home, everything got serious fast. They searched the yard, the fence, the area near the woods. The police got involved. They checked everything, every inch of the backyard, even the trees behind it. No signs of forced entry, no footprints, no broken fence, no clues. Both of them just disappeared, like they were never there. I never slept outside again after that night, and I still avoid backyards that face the woods. I was laying on the floor, scrolling on my phone while my friend Dylan flipped through channels on his TV. It was me, Dylan, and our friend Chris at a normal Friday night sleepover. Snacks were all over the place: chips, candy, soda cans, just scattered across the carpet like we didn't care. Chris was laying on his back, tossing popcorn into the air and catching it, missing half the time. Dylan wasn't really watching anything, just flipping through channels out of boredom. Everything felt normal. Then he stopped on the news. At first, none of us really paid attention. But then the anchor said something that made all of us look up. Police are urging parents to keep minors supervised after multiple disappearances reported over the last 2 weeks. The tone alone made it feel serious. They started showing pictures, kids, different names, different places, but all close enough that it didn't feel far away. Chris sat up slowly. Okay, that's actually kind of creepy. The report said most of them were last seen at night. Some outside, some inside their own homes. That part made the room feel different, like nowhere was really safe. Dylan's mom yelled from downstairs, "Don't go outside tonight, okay?" Dylan called back, "We won't." Then he changed the channel right away, like he didn't want to sit on it too long. We tried to move on, started joking again, going back on our phones, but it stuck. Every now and then, one of us would bring it back up. Imagine that happening here. Bro, don't say that. Lock the doors for real. Around midnight, we went downstairs to get more snacks. The house felt quieter now, like every step we took echoed more than usual. Only the kitchen light was on, casting this dim yellow glow into the hallway. We grabbed chips, drinks, whatever we could find, and started heading back upstairs. That's when Chris stopped. "Wait, I think I left my phone down here." He checked his pockets again. "Yeah, I'll grab it. You guys go." I said, "I'll wait." He shook his head. "It's literally right there. 2 seconds." Dylan shrugged and kept going upstairs, so I followed. We got back into his room and sat down again. The TV was still playing in the background. A few minutes passed, then 5, then 10. Dylan looked at me. "Why is he taking so long?" I called out, "Chris!" No answer. Dylan grabbed his phone and called him. We both listened. It rang. From downstairs, faint but clear. But no one picked up. We looked at each other, then stood up at the same time. We walked downstairs together, slower this time. "Chris?" Dylan called again. Nothing. We reached the kitchen. It was empty, but his phone was sitting on the counter, screen still lit, like he had just put it down. Dylan quickly checked the living room, the bathroom, everywhere. Nothing. I stayed in the kitchen, just staring. That's when I noticed the back door. It was slightly open. Barely. Just enough to let cold air drift inside. I stepped closer to it, but didn't touch it. Dylan came back and saw it too. "Did you open that?" I shook my head. Neither of us said anything for a second. Then Dylan slowly walked over and pushed it shut. The click sounded way louder than it should have. He locked it immediately. Neither of us even suggested going outside. Not after what we saw on the news. We ran upstairs and called his mom, trying to explain it without freaking out. She came home fast, checked the entire house, then the yard, then she called the police. After that, everything felt like a blur. Flashing lights outside, people walking in and out, questions over and over. "When did you last see him? What was he doing? Did he say anything unusual?" I told them everything, even about the news. One of the officers stood in the room, looking at the TV. The news had come back on. Same story, more missing kids, more warnings. He watched it for a few seconds, then said quietly, "That makes another one. That's the part I can't forget." because it made it real. Chris wasn't just missing, he was part of that list now. He was never found. No signs, no clues, nothing. And now, every time I see something like that on the news, I don't ignore it anymore because I know how fast it can happen. 1 second, someone's right there with you, talking, laughing, completely normal. And the next, they're just gone.